Hello everyone and welcome back to in today's video. We're going to be doing a banner review for the brand new Overlord collaboration. So I'm quite hyped for this collaboration. Of course we'll go over the banner itself first in terms of who's on it, and then we'll go over what they do, if they're worth it, so on and so forth. So this is the banner. So you've got Eyes, Albedo, Sheler, Cutus, and then a bunch of bad characters. Red Tamil, Green Sorrel is good for newer players. Green Ludo isn't too bad, he's mainly box CC, and then this Camilla's good if you care about Knighthood boss. Apart from that, not really that good. The characters themselves, very good. Let's actually go over the characters and what they do. Of course, we'll go over one at a time because, of course, we are on a character. So we'll go on to this character first. So Ainz will go as his real name. So his passive is for every unknown ally participating in the battle, increase, or yeah, pretty much every ally who's an unknown on the field, on the battlefield, ally. Special. Increase the unit's base stats by 10% when an unknown ally damages an enemy. Apply a death mark to the enemy. When the unit damages an enemy with a single target skill that has 4 stacks of death mark in PvP, apply 1 death pronouncement to the enemy that activates after 1 turn, which decreases damage dealt, attacks and AoE's ultimates, lowers their Scald by ultimate level of the unit, max up to 4. I don't know what that means, but I guess they do less damage depending on the ult level, which is kind of cool. And then Pronounced Death is insta-kill. I'm not sure how it works. It just says applies damage by 100% of the unit's max HP. I don't think it bypasses the ultimate one, which would be completely busted, but I don't think it does that. It's got cool animations though, sort of Halloween-like, which you know, this does release on the 31st, which is tomorrow. So it's kind of cool to see like Halloween sort of characters for it. Halloween collaboration, you could even say. His relic is for every debuff applied to the enemy, increase allies' basic stats by 3%, max up to 5 times, so 15% basic stats isn't too bad. So his first debuff here is called Declaration, which at level 3 is 500%, at level 1 is 200%, and level 2 is 300%. What Declaration does for every death mark, so of course it's a very unique, skill just for him. Applied to the enemy, increase damage up by 40%. This isn't increased damage by 40%. So, you know, if he gets like tons of debuffs, bear in mind this debuff also works in Demonic Beast as well. Not the Mark of Death, but the other one does. Meaning, you know, these skills are going to be hitting for a minimum of maths for 1600, so 3600, so 360%. This one 460%, and this one 660%. He also has this skill here, which is Valenti's lower ult gauge, debuff skill, which is like AoE debuff, AoE attack lower. Which is like, it's okay. It's definitely not the best. We'll go through, of course, all the animations. At level 3, it lasts for 3 turns and it's 20% lower. The damage isn't actually that good, and to be honest, attack lower isn't really that big. Of course, Barn passively does it himself, so that's quite a big thing. You have Barn lowers crit chance as well. You've got other characters that lower crit chance as well. And of course, then we'll show Ainz's ultimate, which is the final one, which inflicts declaration damage, which is the same as his ultimate, I guess, by 975%, of course this is at 6/6, of the attack to a single enemy. When the unit in participation battle in PvP, so when the enemy, for every death mark applied to the enemy, reduce their damage by 7%, or reduce damage taken from the enemy by 7% for each. So you can lower their damage dealt by 28% from attacks and AoEs. AoE ults. So it's only for attacks, so normal attacks and then AoE ultimates. So single target ultimates still do full damage. Let's look at his ult now. Sorry, the audio is very quiet. It's either very quiet or definitely loud. It's a problem with JB. Squish. Yeah, the Ainz seems very cool. I think I would say he's the second worst. If I was to make a tier list, I'd put him C tier, out of A, B, C, and D. I would go next, because she is next on the list. Albedo. Passive called Absolute Defense. At the start of the battle, apply absolute defense to the unit for 1 turn. When assuming a stance, increase the unit's base stats by 20%. When the unit is attacked at the enemy or during the enemy's turn, apply a buff that increases attack by 10% up to 3 times. So it's 30 attack by 10% for 3 turns. Max stacks 5 times. What the hell? When the unit is not damaged, apply a debuff that increases damage taken to all enemies by 40% for 1 turn. What? Here's a second bit. When the unit's stance effect is removed, apply a buff that increases attack-related stats by 20% for 2 turns to unknown allies. For every unknown ally on the battlefield, increase unit's basic stats by 7%. So if you remove her stance, she gets 20% attack for 2 turns. Sorry, 20% attack-related stats for 2 turns. And then if you attack her, you don't have to give her attack-related stats. So if you were to give her HP defense or attack crit dam, it doesn't matter. She's going to have a crap load of attack, a crap load of defense, and a lot of basic stats. Also, absolute defense, which gets turn 1, reduces damage taken by 50% and taunts enemies. So they're it's a grey taunt. She has a grey taunt turn 1 that's for every enemy, and she takes 50% less damage reduction. She has 50% damage reduction. Plus, if she gets hit, she dishes out more. Did they think this through? I don't think they thought this through. Onto a Holy Relic. For every buff applied to the unit, decrease damage taken by 8%. Max stacks 4, so she can get 32% more damage reduction. What? So, turn 1. So before it's even your turn, you could have 82% damage reduction. Which, let me just make this sound, let me just put this in, into thought. Diane's damage reduction is 40% with her stance. She can get 2 times Diane's damage reduction. That doesn't include the Nanashi buff, the basic stat buff, damage reduction buff. It doesn't. What the hell? Insane. She also, now we've got this skill, which is a debuff skill. Oh my goodness me. Inflicts damage equal to 450%, of course, a gold skill. 180 at bronze, and then 270 at silver. Applies a debuff that decreases the damage dealt as a single target by 80% of gold. So this is, you can just reduce someone's damage dealt. So goddesses are never coming back, is pretty much is what they're saying. Because lowering damage dealt completely bypasses Mael and the ultimate one, not usable. Because she can just lower their stats. Her second ability, which is assumes a stance and taunts the enemies, and she has an amplifier stance, okay. And also 2 turns at gold. 1 turn at, oh wait, what the hell? 2 turns at silver, 3 turns at gold. Sorry, 2 turns at silver, 2 turns at gold, and 1 turn at bronze. Okay, that's kind of busted. Let's just go through her stances and see what they look like. Look at an orb. They attack it. I like that cut-in. I really like that cut-in. Show me the cut-in again. Stab. Bro, she's got no buffs. This is currently her with no buffs. So it's an amplifier. I don't think they thought this through. So she can give herself 3 plus 5 plus then another 1, so 9 buffs. She can give herself 9 buffs. Did they think of this? She has amplified, she can give herself 9 buffs, which is an extra 270% damage. I don't think they thought this through, honestly. They made her absurd. She's going to be good anywhere, because her passive isn't restricted. This is the thing. Her passive has no restriction. At all. You can use her anywhere. You can use her in Demonic Beast. You can use her literally anywhere. She has no restrictions. What the hell? Who thought of this? What is this? Her ultimate applies a buff to the unit that increases. Oh my god, she has Pergameli's ult. The critical chance of by 50% and crit damage by 130%. Of course, this is a 6/6. For 2 turns, it suppresses. It inflicts suppress by 200. So 200%. Okay. So what does suppress do? I don't know what suppress does. But at 1/6, it gives you 50% more crit chance and 60% more crit damage. By the way, at this point, you probably have max passive for her. which is 20% extra attack-related stats. So you've got 70% attack-related stats, plus the extra 50% crit chance, plus extra 60% crit damage, plus then if you have it at 6/6, you you end up getting a 50% crit chance and 130% crit damage. So the crit chance doesn't change, just the crit damage that changes. Okay. That's absurd. What? Angry Albedo. That's the AoE ult, by the way. Who? How? Oh, it is a buff. Wait, it's a buff. That means it's then. She could have 11 buffs. That's just by herself. That's without support. We are gonna go. That's just my video finishing editing for a different day. Next character, Sheler. Can you be quiet now? Thank you. Next one is Sheler. So we'll go over a passive first. For every unknown ally on the battlefield, increase the unit's base stats by 7% when the unit damages an enemy. For the enemy applies a buff that increases. So every time you attack an enemy, you get an increased HP related stat buff, which can stack up to 3 times and is 7%. HP related stats, that's good. That's a lot of lifesteal. At the start of the ally's turn, if the unit has 3 stacks of the buff, applies Frenzy to the unit for 1 turn. When the unit is damages an enemy with AoE skill, it applies Bleed to the enemy for 2 turns. Frenzy, increase attack related stats by 50%. Flat. And reduces defense related stats by enemies, or there's that by herself. And reduces defense related stats by 30%. When the buff is removed, regenerate 40% of max HP. So you're telling me she gives herself a Purg melee attack boost, then plus she's got 21% lifesteal, so she heals 40% of her max HP as well as the 20% that she get from the lifesteal plus her base lifesteal. That's absurd. Let's go for her. Let's do this now. That's cool. Her Holy Relic. When the unit damages an enemy with Bleed, heals allies' HP by 30% of the damage the unit dealt to the enemy. She's like Beatrice on crack. I said she'd be like Beatrice on crack, and she is Beatrice on crack. That's absurd. Anyway, her first card, which is this one, which is one you just saw, inflicts exploitation damage by 450% of attack to a single enemy. Exploitation doubles the damage of the enemy that has Bleed, and double crit damage. So it's double crit damage plus you do 2 times damage to enemies with Bleed. So whenever she uses an AoE skill, she has Infect. So she does Infect and Bleed, as well as then being able to then get 2 times crit damage. That she's going to be insane. She's actually going to be a monster. Pokey Stick. Her skills are pretty cool. This is a single target skill, and it's actually pretty cool. It actually doesn't like it should be an AoE. And of course, her other skill is an AoE Infect skill, like Rimuru, and every other character that has an Infect skill nowadays. It's cool. I like it. Like a Blood Bomb. What's it called? I can't pronounce that. It's a Blood Bomb. I'm gonna call it Blood Bomb. There you go. Her ultimate, which we'll get to after she does this skill. That's a really cool animation. I like that one. Apply the buff to the unit that increases all stats by 30% for 2 turns and inflicts damage equal to 600% of attack on all enemies. And then lifesteals 30% of the damage dealt. This says it lifesteals 50% of the damage dealt. Okay, so the translation was wrong, but it's 50%. She heals 50%. 1/6, she gives herself 5% all stats, but this sword does 400%. That's still quite good. I wish we got this as an actual outfit. I wish this was her actual outfit. This is the outfit she finds Ides with in the anime. It's so cool. Anyway, on to our final one, which is called Cutus, who of course is the free character. In my opinion, he's my favorite. From design, he is my favorite. He's not the best, but he's definitely my favorite in terms of design. It's such an obscure design to go for a character, and they actually added it. I was so happy. So his passive It is PvE only. In PvE, when the unit uses a skill and damages an enemy, remove all debuffs stacked on the allies, and for every debuff removed, apply a buff that increases max HP by 8% for 3 turns. Max stacks is 5, which means you can give your entire team 40% HP, which is actually kind of busted. It is a buff, and it is 8% each time. Instead of buff removal, of course they can remove it. His Holy Relic. In PvE, when a unit uses a skill, applies a buff to all allies that increases all stats by 10% for 2 turns. So he only has to use a skill and you get all stats 10% for 2 turns, which is also actually very good. Because 10% all stats is really good when it comes to, like, just in general PvE. So his first skill is a single target amplify, sort of like Traitor Melee's card. How good is the... I've seen these animations before because I have done Labyrinth with him. He is given for free on Labyrinth even if you don't have him, so don't worry. His kit, from what I see, from the translations, this is a single target detonate skill like Queen Diane's. No, sorry, like... Who has a single target detonate? I completely forgot his single target detonate, but it's single target detonate. And his ult is AM Melee's ultimate as well, which is actually pretty good. All stats is a pretty good thing to boost. Sorry, basic stats is a pretty good thing to boost, especially by 50%. Which I'm pretty sure what AM Melee's ult does. Oh, I love that effect as well. Yeah, 50% of basic stats and 350% AoE. His ult is so sick as well. Oh, it's so cool, man. Yeah, he is, of course, the free character, so of course he's not the most broken. And of course, I guess he'd be PvE and he was free. And guess what? He was PvE and he was free. And he has 2 single target skills. But overall, he does seem like a half-decent PvE character that could be used in the future. Of course, how long is this video? I don't know how long this video is currently. It's 17 minutes. I'm not going to keep you much longer. We'll do the multi, and then I'll give my final verdict, so to say. I've not had any luck on this banner. And it seems like it's going to stay that way. I'll be doing 2 rotations tomorrow on the banner. That'll come out in the morning. Hope I get... So I'm going to get the 2 multis for free. You can get 3 for free, but it's like Labyrinth, you have to farm it for like ages. So I kind of can't be asked to do that. So I will have my video out in the morning sometime. Or my time will be in the morning. For you guys, it might be in the night sometime. But I'll do 2 rotations. The characters are very good. Now I'm going to rank them from best to worst. Best will be Albedo, 100%. She is like festival level busted. Sheler is definitely easily second. Her damage is absurd. She talks so much. Irons will be third, mainly because he is very gimmicky. If you don't have the debuffs, he doesn't really do that much damage. He also talks a lot as well, as you can hear. And he is the only restricted character. He's the only character that has a PvP part of his passive. No one else does. Of course, Cutus is stuck with PvE only, but he's for free, so of course I'm going to put him at the bottom here, mainly because he's only really PvE. But he is actually very good. They also, once again, they all take after Irons and they all talk too much. But he's actually a very decent character, and I'm very happy they decided to go for him because he's a very unique design for a character. It's not human. It's not some like demi-human. It's a very odd model, and I'm very happy they went for it. And of course, I'll be making a lot of content for you guys tomorrow, so I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.